Hello. What is up? What is up? This is alertwolf here to bring you a different type of review. This is more of an anime review, I guess. Yeah, it's an anime review, and this one is going to be of InuYasha, the final act, and this particular box set that you get, which is the Blu-ray box set. Well, so it's the final act set 1, and as you can see, I purchased and got the Blu-ray box set. I think it was like 30 something at Walmart or Walmart's website if you can't find it at the store. And for 32 bucks, whatever it is with the tax, this is a steal. Now I don't often do this, but I know the final act already has been out for over a year as far as, you could just watch it online. But the English dub is new, and I figured, I would talk about this. So, in this, you get the first 13 episodes, so that's pretty good. So you get half of it. It's like a season actually. All right, and there you go. Inside the box set, you get the two lovely discs, like so. You get this there. Shouldn't really do anything, and that goes there. Right off the bat, it looks beautiful on Blu-ray. And yeah, it just looks amazing in Blu-ray. So it's well worth. If you have a Blu-ray player, you might as well get a Blu-ray. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the InuYasha, the final act, or InuYasha in general, so I'll just briefly explain. InuYasha, people remember it from Toonami and Adult Swim. It's airing right now. The final act is how they ended it. Basically, the show went on for like 170 something or 60 something, I think 74 episodes roughly. And it never ended. It just stopped. And this basically picks up where that leaves off, and this ends the series. Again, I've never read the InuYasha manga, so I don't know how the manga was done. But I did, like everybody else, watch the original series. I have all the movies, and basically, these first 13 episodes or the whole final act to end this is a lot of power-ups and a lot of wrapping things up. So everybody in this show that gets stronger, basically, for the main characters that are going to do the battling. And obviously, just a brief synopsis on InuYasha in general. So, once there was a demon named InuYasha. Once there was a priestess named Kikyo, and she had to protect this Shikan jewel. And that is a jewel that was made when a priestess tried to slay 3 demons in some spiritual battle thingy, and it just crystallized into this crystal. So it has both the potential for good or evil, and it has great spiritual powers locked inside of it. One day, a man named Onigumo, I'm not going to go over it. Hold on. So InuYasha tries to steal the Shikan jewel from Kikyo. And InuYasha is a half-demon, the son of the great dog demon, and a human woman. And he wants the jewel so he can be full demon. Yeah, mainly because he got picked on by humans and his brother, and so he would try to take it from Kikyo. Now Kikyo, the priestess, did not actually kill InuYasha, though she could have, because she saw he looked kind of sad, so she kept telling him to go home. The two would eventually become close. It's almost like adopting a stray dog. They would fall in love. At the same time, a man named Onigumo, a vicious robber, thief, and murderer, had been burnt alive by villagers and was resting in a nearby cave or in a field where Kikyo found him, and put him in a cave, and has been nursing him back to health. It's sort of her side project. He also fell in love with the nurse maid, basically, that saved him, the Florence Nightingale. Not Florence Nightingale, but fell in love with the nurse that was saving him. But couldn't move. Again, he had been burnt alive, and he was evil anyway. And he wanted to move. This desire to obtain Kikyo called 100 demons into play. And they agreed to give him the power he needed at the price of his soul. Basically, they were going to take his body. Anything. So what happens is he merges with 100 demons. And when the merging comes out, he becomes the villain of the show. You know, Onigumo becomes Naraku. Naraku, the first thing he does is he desires the Shikan Jewel. Is he attacks Kikyo, making her think it was InuYasha, and then attacks InuYasha, making them think that the other one had betrayed him, and steals the jewel, and then leaves the jewel for InuYasha to have. Now, the reason for this is part of the motivation for Onigumo was jealousy over InuYasha, but the demon's desire for the jewel shard was also great. Now, Kikyo had been mortally wounded, in both characters feeling betrayed, because the idea was they were going to use the jewel to turn InuYasha human, thus purifying the jewel and getting rid of it, and then they would have get married and have babies. But what Naraku did was basically trick them into killing each other, and that's exactly what happened. InuYasha got sealed on a tree by a sacred arrow that Kikyo fired. Kikyo died from her wounds. She died from her wounds, and then basically she was burnt, and you know, her body was funeral pyre burnt while she held the jewel, and the jewel disappeared. You know, hundreds of years later, Kagome, her character, becomes a teenager, and it turns out she's the reincarnation of Kikyo, and she has inside of her the jewel, a sacred well, because her family owns a shrine. A demon woke up, tried to eat her. She actually used that as a time portal, using the power of the jewel, and went back to the feudal era. Okay, where she, you know, meets InuYasha, unseals him, the jewel shatters, goes everywhere, hence the show. You meet other characters along the way, like Shippo, the fox demon orphan, who's a little thing like that. Sango, her story is she's a demon hunter. Her brother gets killed and then possessed by Naraku and kills her entire family, almost kills her, and then her hunt for Naraku is to avenge her family and the fact that her brother's being kept alive by a jewel shard. Kilala is her pet demon, who is actually the pet of the original priestess that created the jewel shard, the jewel. Moroku is a monk whose family has been cursed by Naraku. He has a black hole in his palm that he can seal temporarily, but eventually it will overtake him, and it has killed his grandfather and his father. But because of this, he knows his time is short. He's the quintessential horny monk, and he's trying to get laid all the time so he can spread his seed before he dies. And obviously, as the show progresses, other characters get introduced, like Koga, the leader of the Wolf Clan. You have InuYasha's brother and his team, including a human girl, Ren, who has spiritual power, but is still a little kid, so she never really uses it. She has spiritual awareness. Jokin and his staff, and you know, InuYasha's older brother is his rival, and there you go. It's a show move. And then you have characters like Kikyo, who gets revived by a demon witch, and now she's running around doing things too, and she's an angry, bitter woman for the most part because of what's going on. So, and then you have the love triangle between Kikyo, InuYasha, and Kagome. Which is weird, because he's in love with... I don't know why, and these girls always get jealous of this. I don't know why. I think I would not be jealous, because if I died, and then my girl fell in love with my reincarnation, who looks just like me, different personality because he grew up differently than me. But obviously the spark, the soul, the twinkle in the eye, the love is the same, you know. I don't know, if I suddenly came back, I would be jealous of myself. I'd be like, that's just me. So, I mean, what does it matter? But well, whatever. And thus they all fight and blah, 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 blah. And Moroku's black hole will disappear when, obviously, the villain dies. So, there you go. And countless incarnations get made by Naraku of himself. So he basically makes himself children, different aspects of his personality with different powers, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, now that we've all caught up, let's get to the final act. Okay, so basically the first 13 episodes, the first half of the show, it's all about, really, InuYasha powers up his sword. He gets the dragon scaled Tetsaiga, which allows him to see demon vortices. Well, he learns how to see the demon vortex. It allows him to cut demon vortex, destroying and allowing him to absorb demonic energy. And pretty much it's like cutting the power. Like if somebody had a cheat, it's like cutting that off. So it's a very powerful weapon. At the same time, Sesshomaru, his demon sword, Tokujin breaks. His other sword, the one left by his father, Tenseiga, starts reacting. Now this sword has the ability to heal, but it's the underworld sword. He's starting to learn a new technique, which opens a gateway to the underworld. It's like opening a portal up with suction that sucks you in. It's almost like the black hole effect, except for it's not smushing you, it's just taking you basically to hell, or the underworld, where you're dead. You know. And this is what's going on. Now the first few episodes deal with the incarnations, and they're all starting to die off, especially the old ones. We see the heart of Naraku is the infant, and that's inside another demon that was made by Naraku, which has become an armor. Konihamaru, or whatever his name is, and they're plotting to kill Naraku because Naraku has every demon's every time he makes himself a copy, he keeps their heart. Also, you have who am I thinking of? All right. Then you have basically, because the baby had split himself as half, and there was the other half that he has the ultimate barrier, and Naraku at the right time takes away those abilities, and basically Moroku sucks it up. And Kagura is also caught in the middle of this. Now Kagura is in love with Sesshomaru, or at least really likes him. And she's the wind, and all she desires to be is free. Basically, Naraku, after it's all said and done, and the arc gives her back her heart, and then mortally wounds her, so she could die in misery after being free and never basically see anybody. But as she lays dying in a field, Sesshomaru, he smells her scent and sees the blood petal and rushes to her aid, and she's like, oh, you were hunting for Naraku. I guess you found me. You must be disappointed. He goes, no, I came to see you. She goes, really? I'm so happy. And then she dies. And he realizes he couldn't bring her back with the Tenseiga. So she dies. InuYasha and them get there just a minute too late. and InuYasha asks his brother if she suffered, and he says no, she died, with a smile. But this pisses off Sesshomaru because, okay, he's like one of those cool, cold guys, is not too much in touch with his feelings, but he kind of really liked her, you know what I mean? And for him, he doesn't really like chicks, you know what I mean? He's too good. So for him to actually start feeling for this person and being furious at how she died, and they said it was meaningless, that really pissed him off. So this motivates him. And this is actually what the sword, and motivates his connection with the sword, and this is how he starts to learn that new technique. Alright, so then they also, Koga gets claws from his family, like the ancestral claw things. It's like a weapon, and it's like metal claws here, and basically that's his demonic weapon of his clan, and he gets that power. At the same time, Kikyo is not doing so well, because she too has been pretty much injured from the last go around with Naraku, and she's not 100% healing, and so she knows she doesn't have long, and she's gonna try it. She has a plan to stop Naraku, which is to use Sango's brother's shard, purify it, and when it joins with the jewel that Naraku has, it'll kill him, because it'll purify everything. And since they're evil, you get the idea. They go after his heart. They end up, what happens is Naraku ends up absorbing the demons that have his heart back into him. They ended up, so he becomes one with it. I'm trying to just get through this. 13 episodes is a lot of stuff. So basically, they hit you with, they're trying to get Koga's shards as well. And what happens is Kikyo had merged with the priestesses. She had took part of the lingering soul of the priestess who created the jewel shard, what was left in that by her body, and merged, so they could both, she could use more power because she was losing her powers, and that gave her some influence over the jewel shard, which allowed, which the will of the creator was being done to unite the jewel shard and kill Naraku. So what happens is Koga's 2 jewel shards would stop working on him, and he was constantly losing the battle. But Naraku went to absorb Koga and his jewel shards. He ends up getting the jewel shards, and it's not enough to purify him. But what happens is Kikyo gets injured, and then in order to save Kikyo, because Kikyo gets injured because of the effect of the wind tunnel. See, when Moroku, in order to, when Naraku was trying to become one again, Moroku had an opportunity to absorb it with his wind tunnel, his heart, which would kill him. And he started to do so, but he took in a lot of miasma, a lot of poison, and they stopped him just short of doing that, and then he was dying, and Kikyo absorbed the poison from Moroku as much as she could, and so that left her poison. So they have to go to this certain shrine to get a weapon, a new bow, so that Kagome can purify Kikyo. She does so. There's a whole thing about love, and does she really want to save Kikyo? All this emotional junk. And she does. She does what she has to do. She gets the bow. They have another battle with Naraku because there's spider webs everywhere. And the battle with Naraku seemingly is going Naraku's way. He finally gets Koga. This time he gets Koga's jewel shards. You know how? Alright, he already got them. No. Now he finally gets Koga's jewel shards. That's right, he didn't get them. It wasn't enough. Well, he took Koga's jewel shards. He hid the jewel in Kikyo for a second because he had captured her. Kagome, using the sacred arrow from the super bow that she just got, fires at the jewel, purifying the jewel, and shoots it into Naraku because it was joining with his two fragments he just stole from Koga. The purification process almost kills him, but he defiles the jewel and lives. But he's super weakened, and so he bounces. But this is it, because Kikyo is dying. And unlike other points in the series where it was apparent she may have or may not have died, this one had a finality to it. Like, Kikyo was done, and she was dying, and you knew she was dying. I'm not gonna lie. I cried a little. That scene was very touching. We'll shed a little man tears on that one. Teared up a bit, maybe one or two. But it was beautiful the way that was done. And she passes, and it left people awry and, you know, depressed, and so, you know, just to skim forward, basically Koga goes on his way. He no longer has the jewel shards in his legs to give him the super tornado Tasmanian devil speed, so he bounces. They're all depressed, but they want to do what they can. They bounce, and Sesshomaru is still trying to learn how to use his weapon. He ends up going to visit his mother. We get introduced to Sesshomaru's mother, who is a dog demon, and she's, you know, she was the first wife, I would say, of InuYasha's father. Koga goes to the underworld in a trial set up by his mom and his dad, basically, in order to, you know, learn how to perfect his technique, because he can only do a crescent moon, but you have to do a full moon. Hello, hey, sorry about this if I look a little different because it's shaved. What happened was the end of this video got chopped off somehow. I kept going, and somehow the end of the video got chopped off. So, whatever. So I'm reshooting the end of it, and some time has passed since I noticed it, so I've shaved, in case you were wondering. But I'll pick off right where I left off, and you won't even notice the difference. Yeah, so Sesshomaru is trying to learn how to master his blade, because he can only do a semicircle. What happens is, again, his mom sets up a trial where Rin and Kohaku are captured and taken into the underworld. His mom, not realizing how much Sesshomaru cares for the little girl, and that she's already been brought back once from the Tetsaiga. So he has to kill the gatekeeper in the underworld in order to save Rin. Sesshomaru is actually fine, or not Sesshomaru, Kohaku's fine because he's being kept alive with the jewel shard. So they brave the thing to get her back because he, you know, cares for the girl, and that's what he does. He ends up killing the guardian of the underworld. There was nothing he could do. The power of the Tetsaiga couldn't bring her back because she's been brought back once. But he was able to rip a hole and get himself out. Although the mother had offered him a way back if he would leave her, but he didn't take it. So she didn't really understand why he was so sad. Found out that was why, blah blah blah. So she used the power of her amulet to bring the child back, and that is basically her last extra life, her last continue. The next time she dies, it'll be dead for good. They leave. The mom gives Kohaku a warning, saying the same thing. The sword can't bring you back either. And Sesshomaru leaves with the sword almost 100% of a circle, but just still not quite there yet. And it's huge, his move. Alright, now again, the name of the game is about power-ups. So the next power-up will be Sango, and what happens is it's the new moon. InuYasha doesn't have his powers, so Sango and Moroku go off and fight the Bone Eater demon and his daughter. The Bone Eater demon is weak and he needs to eat bones in order to restore himself. He ends up taking a bite out of Hiriko's. He realizes this can heal him, and so there's a struggle to get Hiriko's. Now, due to all his injuries of the miasma and the poison, Moroku is very injured. So when he tried to suck in some of the baddies, it left them almost unable to function. So they threaten to kill Moroku unless she gives him Hiriko's. She puts a dissolving poison on her Hiriko's and throws it in his mouth. He takes a bite out of the thing and he cracks it in half actually, and it kills him. And just then InuYasha shows up and finishes up what was left. They leave, but they need to heal the weapon. And Miyoga says there's a way to restore it. We gotta go to a sage. So this is the second time a different sage. They go for training basically, and this is for Sango. This guy's the alcoholic sage, and his alcohol pools are medicines and poisons, and that's what he's an expert in. And basically, he's like, he put the Hiriko's in a poison. He says, if you pacify the demons that are in this jar, it'll turn into a remedy and it'll restore your Hiriko's. Meanwhile, Moroku is given a chance to help, because basically he gets offered a potion that would take away the pain from the poison that's killing him. So even in a life or death scenario, he can still use it. InuYasha objects, but Moroku explains what he's going to do. Now, Sango, it turns out, I know I'm going a little fast, this video is very long. Now, Sango, it turns out, the demons she's fighting are the spirits to the demons that gave up their bones to be that weapon. And they feel betrayed by her, obviously, so because she sacrificed it for the man. She explains to them that she would do it again, and they're still upset. But when the monk takes the medicine, it gets explained that the pools are linked, because it's all coming from the same dimension, I guess, or whatever. So the demons are able to feel his resolve along with her resolve, and they understand, because they couldn't understand it before, that he would die for her and she would die for him. They get that, and they agree to be her weapon once more. And then so her weapon gets reforged. Then, as Sesshomaru is still trying to learn how to use the Tenseiga, we get an enemy attack, leads him into a trap, and basically this enemy is the creator of the technique, and he can do the circles complete, and his are smaller, but they're very powerful. And he wants to get revenge. He wears a face mask because he fought their father, who put a hole in his head and stole it. And he said he's seen the Tenseiga before, and then he spills the beans and we get a big revelation that the Tenseiga was a part of the Tenseiga that was cast out because his father couldn't control the technique or didn't know what to do with it, and he gave it to Sesshomaru. Sesshomaru was able to fully master the technique in the presence of the Tenseiga, and the brothers were working together. Because this happens, they were able to use it. Now, of the 3 or 4 people, like Miyoga, is fully aware of what his father intended. Sesshomaru was figuring it out. The enemy gets it immediately as he's been sucked into the underworld. He's like, I feel bad for you, you're dead, you dick. And InuYasha's clueless. And that was the end of the box set. That was the 13th episode. You'll find out exactly on the next episode what it's for and all that. And just real fast, I'm going to give you my brief thoughts just on this. Basically, this was an amazing buy. As I said before, it was like $32 on sale at Walmart.com. You can just ship it to store if you don't want to pay shipping, but I think they were running a no shipping thing. So it is amazing. 13 episodes. The quality is fantastic. It does take the voice actor. There's a few episodes to get back into the rhythm of doing these voices again, but once they do, they're pretty pretty great at it. Red sounds a little older because obviously the actress that plays her grew up a little. But all in all, this is great. Now the final act itself, I love the final act. These first 13 episodes, I'm going to give a 5 out of 5. Just because the 3 major deaths, especially the death with Kikyo, it had me tearing up. So, I mean, just one quick thought on InuYasha. I think the reason why people, I've said it before, dog on the series now is because when they look back, they think, oh man, it's formulaic, same old. But so is a lot of anime, especially, you know, a lot of anime is formulaic, and it's like Thundercats. They really beat Mum Ra, you know. Every time they think they beat him, he's the ever living, and that's the same type of deal. So I'm fine with that, you know. I'm fine. People say, well, Kagome never got stronger. Kagome is constantly getting stronger. It's just she's not a fighter. She has one move, and it's the purification thing. And it's not like she's a trained priestess. So there you go. So yeah, again, I recommend this. If you're a fan of InuYasha, this is a great buy. Definitely get it. And that's enough of me. You've heard enough. So this is alertwolf here telling you to click it if you like it, comment if you must, subscribe if you can, and this is me signing out.